Our mantra for success is simple: speed, service, and security. Those who shape tomorrow strive for and demand perfection. At Access Bank, our service culture of speedy response and drive for excellence is the blueprint for creating customer experiences that will echo for generations. Come, let's work together and take tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to Arise News. It is Monday, the 13th of February 2017. I'm Jeff Koinange in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. This is Arise News Now. And here are some of the stories making headlines around the world. The United Nations Security Council is holding an emergency meeting later today to discuss North Korea's latest missile test, which contravenes UN resolutions. And in music's biggest event, which ended a short while ago in Los Angeles, Adele comes out on top in the Battle of the Divas, winning 5 Grammys to Beyonce's 2. We'll have plenty more ahead. And jazz legend and music icon Al Jarreau is dead at the age of 76. Our top story this morning, and the United Nations Security Council is holding an emergency meeting later today to discuss North Korea's latest missile test, which contravenes UN resolutions. The United States, Japan, and South Korea have requested the emergency meeting after leading the chorus of condemnation following the test. North Korea has released more information about the test, which was personally overseen by Kim Jon Un and has been described as, quote, highly successful. The Pukuk Song-2 missile, a new type of strategic weapon said to be capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, flew about 500 kilometers or 310 miles before falling into the Sea of Japan. To Romania now, and the government is under intense pressure to resign as street protests continue throughout the country against a controversial decision to water down anti-corruption laws. Up to 50,000 people gathered in front of the Parliament building in Bucharest last night, chanting, quote, "Thieves resign." The demonstrations have been going on for nearly 2 weeks, and despite the resignation on Thursday of the country's justice minister, demonstrators look set to continue with demands for more resignations. So far, the widespread protests have been largely peaceful. Last night, they used mobile telephone torches against colored pieces of paper, lighting up the cold night air with blue, yellow, and red, the country's national flag. On to the continent now. In Senegal's Minister of Health, Awa Marie Coll Seck, has been handed the Best Minister Award for her role in the battle against Ebola. It happened at a gala event at the World Government Summit, an annual forum on good governance held in Dubai. On hand to present the award was Dubai's ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. The award was in recognition of her role in defeating Ebola through prevention and information programs. The worst ever outbreak of the deadly virus started in December 2013 in southern Guinea before spreading to 2 neighboring West African countries, Liberia and Sierra Leone. That outbreak killed more than 11,300 people out of nearly 29,000 registered cases, according to the WHO. Now, the WHO declared the epidemic over in January, but this was followed by flare-ups in all 3 countries. Congratulations to the minister. Now, in neighboring Ivory Coast, 6 journalists, including 3 media owners, have been arrested in the country for spreading what they're calling false information about a mutiny by security forces. Now, they were arrested on suspicion of breaking the law, which forbids inciting rebellion among the military, attacking state authority, and publishing false information relating to defense and state security, according to the statement. Now, the move comes after elite forces became the latest troops to protest over pay in recent weeks in the West African nation, firing into the air in the army barracks town of Adiake. The editor and owner of the independent dailies, Linta and Swagimfo, were arrested and held in a police camp in the capital, Abidjan, along with the editors and owners of the opposition newspapers Le Temps and Notre Voix. The journalist will be questioned to find out where responsibility lies for the alleged false information, according to the prosecutor. All right, we're going to talk more about the billion-dollar euro bond. But before we do that, the head of Samsung Electronics, Lee Ji-young, has been summoned by prosecutors again in connection with a corruption scandal that led to the impeachment of President Park Geun-hye. Lee Young, vice chairman, has been quizzed multiple times over his role in the scandal that has rocked the nation. Prosecutors accused him of bribing Park's confidant to the tune of nearly $40 million. Japan's latest report says the economy expanded 1% in 2016. The slight bump in exports and capital investment offset weak spending at home, government data showed on Monday. Reports indicate that this, however, is unlikely to erase concerns about Tokyo's faltering war on deflation. The GDP data showed 4 consecutive quarters of growth, the longest expansion since 2013. The annual figure was lower than the 1.2% growth registered in 2015. Government spending measures and a drop in the yen were key growth drivers, even as Japanese consumers kept a tight lid on spending. Japan's once booming economy has suffered from years of deflation, which discourages spending by consumers. Now, the dollar rose against the yen Monday, and Asian stocks ticked up, helped by renewed optimism over President Donald Trump's tax reform plans, generally upbeat global economic data, and Trump's change of track to agree to honor one China policy. The global economy seems fairly sound now compared to last year, as China is supporting its economy through fiscal measures. The downside risk in the U.S. economy is small due to Trump's policies. The dollar rose as much as 0.9% against the yen to 114.17 yen, extending its rebound from 101.59 yen last Tuesday, which was its lowest level in 10 weeks. Joining me now to talk business and nothing but business is Economist Ayo Teriba. Ayo, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so there's a story coming out about landing fees of imported fuel. It's going up to 145 naira. Is that a good deal?
Well,
Landing cost, they call it.
well, not about good or bad deal. Things have to reflect, the realities.
There's been a lot of controversy about how much the government should charge for these landing costs, right?
Yeah.
If they fix the price at 145, will it be helpful? Will Nigerians at least now say, okay, there's something we can work with?
Well, the government should continue the approach to the market, allowing the market to determine the pump prices.
Yeah.
It's not about fixing. I think what they've done is to set a cap. So if a cap needs to be adjusted
Sure.
based on the changes, in costs,
Okay.
in exchange rate and so on.
Ayo, last few weeks, the Naira has taken a beating. It's taken a slamming. What's going on? And will it level off at some point?
Well, the outlook for the Naira in 2017 is much better compared with what we experienced in 2016. It's reasonable to expect the Naira to stabilize. You will recall that a year ago, the price of oil was about half what it is now. So the recession, the devaluation, the inflationary outbursts were the result of that low price. Now, if it's double what it was a year ago, then the outlook is certainly much better. So you should expect more stable.
Yeah.
more
Does that
stability.
mean that Nigerians are going to continue to go through tough economic times?
If the outlook is better than what you experienced last year, Nigerians should expect improvements.
Should expect improvements.
in economic conditions.
What are we talking in the next 90 days? In the next
Stability of the
180 days?
currency, inflation moderating, and growth resuming.
Yeah.
Much of last year, the economy declined. We were in a recession. Much of this year, we should get out. We should see recovery and growth.
Yeah. The floating of the Eurobond at $1 billion US, oversubscribed 8 times. Was that a good sign?
It's positive for Nigeria. And you could only expect that to grow going forward.
Yeah.
Nigeria needs to get all the foreign investment, all the foreign exchange liquidity it can get So that's a positive signal.
Yeah.
That the market, the reception, of Nigeria's bond, on the international scene was very positive. Much better than the government had expected.
Yeah. Talk to us a bit about the Nigeria Recovery Program, the Economic Recovery Program. Talk to us about that.
Right. Yet to be made fully public, but the point is that the circumstances that Nigeria confronted last year required some drastic reform measures to get us, one, out of recovery, two, to ensure sufficient supply of foreign exchange. And the recovery plan came in to try and ensure some of this.
Is it going to work?
Well, I'm not,
You're an economist. Give us an outlook. Give us an outlook. Don't be so conservative.
Well, it will all depend, on the speed and the intensity with which the government, puts these reform measures in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ayo Teriba, we'll have to leave it at that. Good luck. Thanks so
Thank
much
you
for coming.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Ayo Teriba, economist there. Okay. In other news, independent marketers, this is a story I was telling you about. Independent marketers and petroleum products and depot owners have revealed that the landing costs of imported petrol here in Nigeria is now 145 naira per litre and above. The marketer stated that importing petrol at the foreign exchange rate provided for international oil companies at 305 naira per dollar is responsible for the increase. They also explained that it is no longer possible for depots to sell petrol at the federal government's approved rate of between 123 naira and 133 naira per litre. Pump price of petrol at the moment is more often above the government approved rate at some of the petrol stations across the country. All right, we're going to take the first break right now real quick, but do stay with us, plenty more ahead, including all the winners at the Grammys and yes, the BAFTAs as well. Stay with us. You're watching Arise News Now live from Nigeria's capital Abuja. We're back in a moment.